Thank you so much, everybody, for the pitches. Thanks to the whole Pitchtalk team. Happy to be here again. Yeah, so I'm Kenny Johns, and I'm building Ample. We are focused on basically building the gateways and rails to decentralize a $2.8 trillion IP and media industry. I come from a background of National Geographic, Discovery Channel. I played music. I had a business. I scaled it up to about 500K a year. Like I basically have worked in this space. And once I started learning about blockchain about 4 years ago, I got really excited. So first, give you a quick, like basically what, similar to RWA's more tangible assets, we're focused on tokenizing intangible assets, but in the intellectual property, right? And then distributing the associated media as well. So we are focused on compliant tokenized IP, rights, royalties, licensing management, AI content provenance that will kind of be the way of the future when it comes to kind of how a lot of content is generated. And then we have a variety of digital asset offerings that brands and independent creators can launch. Our ultimate goal is widespread distribution. So we're building bridges and infrastructure to distribute that tokenized intellectual property to multiple marketplaces, allowing maximum exposure. And then at the same time, distributing that media and the associated media across to multiple streaming platforms and handling all the settlement. So brands and users need to go to one place, and then they can distribute and monetize between multiple platforms and marketplaces. We can go next. Let's see. Do I click next? Sorry. Yes, I do. Cool. Got it. Yeah. Here we go. All right. Some of our early stage traction, we just launched our alpha platform. Once we completed our accelerator about 6 weeks ago, we're on testnet getting our security audits now. We have about 25 launch partners. Those are independent launch partners with a decent following, as you can see here in the slide. And then one of the biggest ones that we're really excited about is our upcoming enterprise launch with Caracol Television. They're one of the third biggest broadcast networks in all of Latin America region. And we just signed an agreement with them that we're going to help them launch and start launching some of their projects and campaigns. So we're pretty stoked about that. We completed our white paper. We have a whole token ecosystem that goes behind this and supports this kind of decentralized ethos. We've completed DAO token, legal protocols for compliant IP agreements, and we've done a lot of product market fit research. We got about 3,000 user surveys. So we're going to be starting to generate revenue in the next quarter and hoping for TGE like early Q3. Cool. So really quick on the team, I have, again, most of the domain expertise. Raj is our blockchain dev. He's launched on like Near, Solana, EVM, multiple NFT collections, and he has a whole history of like, digital and social growth as well. Manuel is our full stack dev. He's awesome. He's just crushing it. And then Josh is our lawyer, right? So he's our legal team member. He basically crypto, IP, international law. So he helps us with all of our launches, which is great for our clients as well. So yeah, we're all basically experienced founders. We've launched multiple projects and businesses. We have domain expertise and multi-chain build expertise, et cetera. So we're chain agnostic, and we have a good team that can handle all that. So let's see. And then obviously you can see some of the people we've previously worked with. All right, cool. So this is just a really easy visual, but basically we are a protocol ecosystem and we're supporting circular economies, and we fix legacy infrastructure. The big problem that we're actually fixing is legacy infrastructure. I can get all into that, but it's very complicated and fragmented. And we're essentially connecting all the different parties that you see here, the creators, the owners, marketplaces, streaming platforms, streaming audiences, collectors, super fans, financiers, communities, and networks. We're basically building the bridges and infrastructure that connect all those different parties and distributing that intellectual property, allowing for engagement with that, as well as the associated media. Cool. And I just throw this out there every time I do this, just because I know we're all connected in different ways. We are still looking for cross-chain marketplaces and streaming platform partnerships, brands and content creators with followers, like solid followers with existing IP and media. And also we're looking for backers and investors, right? Obviously, we're on a pitch. So here we go. So this is our connection. You can learn everything about us. If you want to email me, there's my email address. But yeah, happy to jump in some questions. It looks like we're right about time. So I'll stop and get some questions.
Wonderful. That was definitely right on time. A question coming up from Colin from as an angel investor in fintech. Let's see. How does Ample think about providing infrastructure for IP holistically versus more tailored solutions like UGC content platforms, music, movies, etc.?
Yeah, so I think if I understand the question correctly, are we talking about the difference between the overall just tokenizing intellectual property and then intellectual property for specifically like film, show, music, and content? I think that's what we're discussing.
Indeed, so.
Right? Okay, cool. Yeah, so to be fair, it's actually quite similar. Like there really isn't much of a difference. When you're tokenizing intellectual property, you're essentially assigning rights, claims, access to that intellectual property, right? And then you distribute that however the brands or creators really want to, right? And they're still in control of that. And then the settlements are similar, right? So it's just essentially like composable tools and what functions the brands and creators want. But no, the process is actually similar.
Perfect. Then we have time for one or two more questions.
Yeah.
We got one from Valeria from Get Funded Network. Could you share some use cases, like samples, how it would work, and the benefits you provide at Ample?
Yeah, definitely. So I'll give you a really, I'll talk about Caracol because that's probably one of our biggest launches, and a good example of a legacy network that's coming into Web3. They basically are looking at, they have a 30, 40-year catalog of content. Right. So they're essentially looking at like, how do they engage with their audiences better? How do they include their audiences? Can they share royalties? Can they fundraise for shows? How do they get, millions and millions of viewers a little bit more engaged? And so they essentially will create like a showcase page and they will launch content. They will launch digital assets and they will also launch like physical assets as well with token gated access to like behind the scenes, talking to the stars. Maybe they can be an extra in the show. Things like that. That's a good use case for a bigger legacy network.
Thanks for clarifying. A final question from Katie from Babs. What kind of users do you currently have at Ample?
Cool. Yeah. So again, the big one is Caracol Television. That's an example of a legacy user. And then the other users would be more independent creators. They all have anywhere between 20,000 to, like 1 million followers and hundreds of thousands to millions of streams per month. So most of them are independent creators that want to essentially get paid more for what they do. And they want to be able to have split payments and offer more engagement with their community, raise funds for film, shows, and music, and basically have an alternative to the way that traditional legacy content is paid out and distributed.
Thanks for clarifying, Kenny. As always, a pleasure to have you on board.
For sure.
We're out of time, so
yeah.
Wishing you all the best and catch up later.
All right. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. See ya.